Okay, Commission, ready for an approval of the agenda. We did receive a request from the City Manager. City Manager, that is items 5A.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And that is approved for 2-0. We are now going to get to item number 2. Before we do, I would entertain a motion from somebody to suspend the rules for the commission procedures for commission meetings.
Move to suspend the rules for today.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor to suspend the commission meeting procedures rules, seconded for today's meeting, seconded by Commissioner McDowell. Seeing no comments, please vote. And that is approved for 2-0. On to item number 2.
Trying to think if now would be the time to talk about this. Recently, I had to go to Charlotte County's website for their property taxes and get a feel of what they pay for Charlotte County. And I saw on their tax ad valorem taxes, which is millage, there's a separate line item that's called law enforcement. And I am curious if, because there's a distinct difference between Charlotte County and the city of Northport, which is a municipality, can the city of Northport possibly do an ad valorem tax for law enforcement?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how that came about with Charlotte. If it was like a straw ballot where they had a vote and the commissioners decided to do it.
I just saw it on their their ad valorem
Yeah.
taxing ability. They pay 2.42320 mils for law enforcement.
Or if that was just part of their process, budgeting, they decided to come up with a line, I don't know.
All right. It really might need to be looked at as, can we do it? Can we not do it? Is it a separate item compared
But
to?
still, to do debt, if you were to do a GO bond issue that you wanted to pay from that millage, you'd still have to have a referendum for that.
And that was going to be my next question.
Now, if you entered into a COPS transaction or a lease purchase where it's a year-to-year lease and we got a court to say that's not debt for purposes of your charter, you could use that millage each year to pay the debt. You just couldn't secure the debt with it if it were longer than.
Because I often wondered, police makes up an exorbitant amount of our general fund. And if you could show this is how much the police millage would be, it'd be much easier sell for the citizens to understand and then budget money accordingly for PD specific.
Yeah, and that kind of dovetails with the revenue study that shows what a fire district assessment or a police assessment or something to that effect. So there are municipalities that have those assessments in place. That would come out of a fee study with recommendations.
So depending on what we decide to move forward with as policy, assuming there's some type of debt that's going to be issued for the police department, what's a realistic timeframe? So let's say a decision is made within 30 days, a final decision. This is what we're doing. We're not kicking this can down the road. We're going to move forward. This is what we decided to do and issue some kind of bond. Whether it's GO or revenue, unknown. How long of a process would you say that's going to take from the time we make that decision until we can go to the voters and then proceed with construction?
You hit the key is the voters. You'd have to have a referendum in November, okay? Once that's approved, though, if it were a GO or just another non-ad valorem revenue stream, the surtax, we'll get a bond deal done in 60 to 90 days after that. As soon as you got the results back and, we could start moving.
And if we go with COPS, it's a longer period of time, subject to potential validation criterias.
The COPS you could start tomorrow, though, in that you could, because would recommend you validate it. It doesn't have to go to the voters, at least our approach that we're talking about here, is that you could start tomorrow. You'd have to create the leasing corp. You'd have to, and all those things are kind of perfunctory. And you start getting your documents together, and you'd have to come back and approve a transaction for the police facility. And then you'd have to go before the court, which I've said is a wild card, 60 to 90 days by the time we, got to court. So you could probably be before a circuit court, like I said, within 60 to 90 days if you wanted to do that.
So if we were to make the decision today, and then you guys have your marching orders and possibly with a COPS, we would still have to get some legal documents
Oh,
approved.
yeah.
approved by
First of all,
the
you have to
commission.
create the leasing corp and do that kind of thing. You guys would have to meet and create the corporation, and you'd be the elected body of the board of directors, of the board of trustees, of the supervisors of the leasing corp. And yeah, then we would end up having to draft the debt documents, the lease purchase documents. And then you would have to approve all of those down the road. And then once those were approved, for a not to exceed borrowing amount or lease purchase amount, we would then take that to the circuit court, file a complaint, get a date on the docket, and see how that goes. With no promises about, judge may look at your charter and see what you're doing and say, I don't think so. Or you get an intervener or state attorney opposes it, and there's no way to know how that would be.
Sounds like the clearest, most what?
Predictable.
Yeah, that's a great word. Thank you. The most predictable path is to just issue a bond and go before the voters and move forward. That we can have done by November. Thank you for that word. That is absolutely the word that I was looking for. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner? You?
I believe I'm finished, yes.
Okay. Commissioner